I'm going to answer some of the questions that I've gotten about FlexiFlip needles. I put out a video not too long ago, an overview of FlexiFlips, after it took me forever to get my hands on a set because they were brand new in the US. Click the little eye in the upper right hand corner. That'll take you to the other video, like the big overview I had. Two big questions that I've had since I released that video. One, can I use FlexiFlips in this project? And two, how do you cast on and get started? And I didn't answer those two questions, I don't think, very well in the first one, so I'm going to address them here. First question, can you use FlexiFlips in the project? If the pattern you're following is small circumference knitting, where you would normally use double pointed needles or magic loop or 9-inch circulars, yes, that's what FlexiFlips are for. That's the best time to use them, is small circumference knitting. Really, anytime double pointed needles are called for, if you're knitting mittens, gloves, socks, any small tube, they're perfect. You can also use them for flat knitting, but really they're designed for small tube knitting. That question out of the way, now I want to demonstrate casting on and getting started. It's really nothing special, but I think because of the little bendy part in these needles, the bendy part in the middle, people are confused about casting on, so I'm just going to clear it up here. Let's take a look. So these kind of work like double pointed needles in that you have your stitches, you have one empty needle that you work onto, and then, well, double pointed needles, you have at least 3 going. We're just going to have 2 going for FlexiFlips. And I'm going to use a long tail cast on here. And this is how I like to work the long tail cast on, with my thumb. If this is new to you and you want to see how you want an instruction video just on this cast on, I'll give you a link here. So I'm just doing a normal cast on, nothing special yet. And I'm not counting because I'm talking and I can't do both. I'll cast on a few more. Okay, now I have the choice here. Say the pattern says to cast on 40. I can cast on all 40 onto this one needle and then slide half of them onto the other needle like this. You put your needle in as if to purl and just slip 1 stitch over from the left to the right. So I have the option of doing that, or I can just cast on to the second needle. And if you're familiar with using double pointed needles, this isn't new to you. So I got my thumb in there, I've got my empty needle, and I'm just going to do the exact same cast on, but sticking an empty needle where the full one was. Normally when you're working on FlexiFlips, you want your stitches to be half and half, but that is not a rule, not at all. If it works out that the pattern you're knitting, let's say that there are cable twists or lace pattern or whatever, if it works out to have 2/3 of the stitches on one needle and 1/3 on the other, that's fine. You can actually have them in any combination. It doesn't matter. Okay, that should do it. So I've cast on all my stitches on my pretend pattern, and just like with double pointed needles, just like with circular needles, I want to make sure that things aren't twisted. And on this needle where my working yarn is not, I want to get things really close to the tip. Okay, so what I'm going to do is pick up an empty needle and knit this stitch with this yarn, and it's going to join everything in the round. You see that? And one of the nice things with FlexiFlips is that it's not magic loop. I can give you all kinds of reasons why that's good for me, but I mean, magic loop isn't my favorite. I don't mind it, but it isn't my favorite. But this last stitch in magic loop would be on the cord, but I actually have it on the needle here, so it's not going to get smashed into oblivion. It actually is holding its size right there because it's on the needle. So I'm going to use this working yarn to knit this stitch using this needle, and I've got most of my stitches on the cord, so that I can bend this around to get these two, this working yarn and this stitch close. You see that? So I'm going to get my needle in there. Last stitch is on the needle, but I have stitches on the cord so that it will bend. Wrap that stitch with the working yarn and pull it through. And we're all joined in the round, and I'm just going to work across these stitches. And because it's the cast on row, it's a little slow going. That sound of the needle on the blocking board. I don't normally work over a table like this, so that sounds pretty funny. Okay. So now I've worked across those. Just like magic loop, I'm going to turn my work so the working yarn's coming from the back. And on the front needle, I'm going to scooch those stitches down to the tip of the needle. And I'm going to move most of the stitches on the back needle to the cord. And then I'm already joined in the round. My working yarn is here, my next stitch is here, and work across. And that's it. You're going to start, every time you turn your work, you're going to start with an empty FlexiFlip in your right hand, and your working yarn will be coming from the back needle. Start with the front, put a bend in the cord on your back needle to make everything in the round and make everything a nice loop where things are fitting together. And you just keep going, turning the work each time. I hope that helps with the people who had the two big questions on using the FlexiFlips needles. If you have more questions or a video suggestion, feel free to leave a comment and let me know. That's where I get a lot of the ideas most of the ideas for the videos that I make. Hope this helps. Good luck.